should Travis Scott be held accountable for this festival?
Personally, yes. People are saying he stopped the show multiple times, but he could have stopped the actual show.
Pascal.
Now, we have heard so many different, I've seen at least, so many different TikToks, so many different posts on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, even, you name it. So many different people have talked about their experience, their firsthand experience at the concert, dealing with fighting for their lives and seeing the lives that were taken at this horrendous festival. And like I said before, people are calling this the concert from hell. I can't even imagine what people were going through. But to talk about her firsthand experience with everything that happened, please welcome Liliana Lopez to the show. Hello, Liliana. How you doing?
Guys.
How you feeling?
Okay.
No, I know that you there's a lot going on, right?
Yeah.
And I want to say this first off. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on to this show and speak your story and speak about what happened in your own perspective, because this is some scary, terrifying stuff, and I'm so thankful that you made it through, right? But I of course we got to jump into it, right? First off, can I ask you, if it's not too much to ask, how old are you?
I am 19.
You were 19?
Mm-hmm.
You were 19. Now, from my understanding, you've gone to, this is not your first AstroWorld Festival, correct?
Yeah, it is not. I've been to one before.
Okay. And let's talk about that a little bit, okay? Now, what was that experience like, the first one?
So I had went the previous year in 2019, and that was my first concert ever. I had been warned from my family that it get pretty rough, and I wasn't actually prepared for it. Actually, because I think the first time I witnessed it was when Playboy Cardi had performed, and those people get rough. And I think I was pretty much prepared when I came this year.
So, okay, so you knew that this was going to be kind of a rager, right?
Yes.
A lot of people are going to be hopping around. People are going to get lit and try to have a great time, right?
Yes.
Or have have their own version of a good time.
Yeah.
So at that previous event, were you ever scared? Was there ever a vibe?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes, I personally had my personal scary experience in that year also. During Cardi, I actually fell into a mosh pit. I was pretty scared because these guys just do not look on the floor. They're kind of just jumping, and thankfully some guy picked me up and was like, "Get up, get up, get up." Like, you're going to get trampled on, get up. And I was about to cry, but I was like, "No, let me stick it out. Like, it's not that bad. I didn't get crushed. Let me just stick it out." And then the second time around was during Travis's performance, where I fell down like a domino effect, kind of like moving with the crowd, and we all fell. And thankfully I had my family that were taller than me, obviously, and picked me up from that.
Right.
So.
And that was 2 years ago.
Yes.
And that experience was 2 years ago.
Yes.
And I'm gonna stay in this area of 2 years ago really quick before we go into what happened last Friday. So when you say, it was a kind of a crazy, kind of like a wave of just bodies moving back and forth, you fell over. Thank God you had your family with you to pick you back up with the quickness.
Yes.
Now, what was the vibe that Travis Scott was giving out to everybody? Was he trying to give off chaos, or was he actually trying to control the crowd?
Honestly, at that year, I was so focused on the performance that around me, I wasn't really seeing as much as chaotic that I seen this year.
Mm-hmm.
So if anything, I felt like people were more cautious around that time to pick people up, and people were more about helping one another around that time. That's crazy to see that people were not like that this year.
Interesting. Interesting. So is it all right if we walk over to the what happened on Friday?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So first off, I did see a bunch of your TikToks,
Yeah.
and I do appreciate you putting in your 2 cents and
Yeah.
showing your truth and showing your perspective of everything. It looked terrifying. I'm not gonna
Yes.
lie. It
Yeah,
looked
it was.
it looked like if nothing happened, nothing bad happened, if everyone came out alive, I'm sure everyone would have said this was the time of their lives, right?
Yes, personally, I agree. I don't like to say I'm a hypocrite saying, oh, that whole experience was bad. At first,
Right.
it was going, it was cool. I was pretty crushed already from the first song he came in, but I was trying to stick it through. I was like, come on, it's a Travis Scott concert, this is what you come for, to have fun. But man, you just couldn't breathe. That's one thing, and I had to get out of there.
Have mercy. Have mercy. Okay. Okay. So okay, because there's a lot to unfold
Yeah,
here,
of
right?
course.
So so in the very beginning, right? You went
Mhm.
to obviously you went into the festival.
Yes.
You had a ticket. You're not one of the people that rushed the gate, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. So you were a regular person doing the right
Yes.
thing by buying a ticket like you
Yes.
did 2 years ago. Okay.
Yes.
Now, so you went through the gate, you got in.
Mhm.
How long were you out there for? You know what I mean? When did you get
Honestly, from the beginning to the end, me and my family were walking in. I didn't even know at the time that we had to provide a paper copy or a paper copy of your vaccinations. I didn't even know in that until the day of the concert. So I got that
Mhm,
done. Brought that paper. My family did also. We were coming in. They literally didn't even check the paper. Honestly, the security did not even check the paper properly. They were just like, paper, okay, go. Wristband of the green thing that says you're COVID free, go. Let us went, and I was just like, wow, that's crazy that they didn't even like. Literally, my family was talking about it for a minute or two, saying like, wow, that's crazy that they just glanced at it and they told us to go, because that could have been a fake paper.
wow.
That could have been people could have had positive effects, and they were just like, okay, go have fun.
Wait, so security didn't even really give a didn't
No,
even give a damn.
they didn't care.
Wow. So you walked up, you kind of showed it, and
Yeah,
they were like kind of like, just come on, let's
yeah,
go.
they glanced and they're like, okay, keep on going, next
How packed
person.
how packed was the line? Like when you were there?
The line around the time people had started coming around 12 or earlier than that. I even heard people were there till the morning of 1 a.m. That's crazy. But I honestly didn't get there until around 3 p.m. So I wasn't there when the madness of the people breaking in the fences.
So
I wasn't there for that.
yeah, okay, so you weren't there for that, and that happened a little bit earlier on, correct?
Yes.
That happened earlier on. So did you hear anything about that?
I
Did you hear
heard, and
anything
I
about the bum
and I
rush?
personally have seen in my own eyes when we walked in that people were still trying to sneak in, and the cops were trying to still get people that were trying to sneak in. But of
Mhm.
course, you know, they moshed in. They kind of just they took the risk to go in that concert. So
So, okay, so that happened earlier in the day, right? Or that
mhm.
happened a few hours before you got there. If that happened, why was there like I feel like if it was knocked down, you would think that security would have been much tighter, right?
Yes, that's personally what I had thought, because I had already seen the videos of people already breaking in, but there were still fans still risking their lives to go in that concert. Around that time that I came, people were still trying to sneak in. So
Wow. Wow, 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 wow. So people are still trying to break in or sneak in
mm,
even after you were going in, right?
yeah,
Okay, so you got in there around 3 p.m.
yeah,
Obviously music was doing the performances were happening at that point, right?
yes,
Let's click and drag over to the performance, the opening act, or
yes,
before obviously Travis Scott went on the stage. SZA was performing right before Travis Scott, correct? So
yes.
What was the vibe at that time? Because
The
she's
vibe was totally different. I actually loved her whole performance. She put on a great show,
okay.
like awesome to her. But from that performance to Travis Scott, totally different energy. You could feel it. It was totally different.
So okay, when you say that, can you describe? Do you mind
So
elaborating on the
yeah,
vibe? What was the energy in the room? Because you said SZA was up there. It was a really great performance. It's SZA, so I'm not surprised. But at the same time, um, you said that there was a change, like the temperature changed or something like that. So
yes.
can you
So
describe what the vibe was in the crowd?
yes, of course. So during SZA's very positive, very loving. She took care of her fans.
Mm,
It was a pretty good performance. You felt the energy of other people just wanting to record. You could hear people crying because some parts of that SZA songs, just got to start crying. She was definitely making us feel some type of way with her music. And then shifting back to Travis Scott and moving over there, um, he had tempo music to the point where you're pumping up. He's trying to pump you up. I think that tempo music was definitely like making my heart rise. I was like, what's up with this music? I never heard it before. He's never played any type of background music to start up a performance, but it was pretty much like techno music, kind of just like boom, 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 boom. And you're kind of just
right.
like, it's raising you up to get pumped up. And I was just like, dang, like this music kind of needs to stop because it's like I'm gonna run out of breath.
Right, right. No, I understand that. He was trying to get everybody hype, right?
Yes.
That hype music was happening, and I know that there was a countdown before he went on stage.
Yes.
So that was a whole thing. I'm sure everybody was
Yeah.
getting their drink on or getting their smoke on or
Yes.
just trying to get prepared for when he comes out, and
Yeah.
then when the big drop happens, everyone goes
Yes.
wild, right?
Mhm.
So when he comes out, right? You said I understand what you're saying about the energy. Obviously, everybody was on pins and needles. It's been 2 years since you guys have had, or since there was another, since the last AstroWorld Festival. So I can understand people just really hype about just finally being free, right?
Yes.
So he goes out, beat drops. What happens there?
So he performed Escape Plan first, which was a song he had just released 2 days before, I believe.
Mhm.
He performed that. That was his first song. Everything was fine, but I think towards the second song, you kind of just feel a bunch of people from the back pushing up, and you just feel all the pressure. And luckily, I was with my family members at that time. They're taller than me, so compared to me to them, I was glad they were kind of like my shield at that point of time. Because if anything, if I hadn't had lost them, I'm gonna be bluntly honest, I think I would have had a good time. But then again, I don't think I would have because I really couldn't breathe. But they were my shield for a good 2 to 3 songs in, and everything was fine. I was recording. I felt the pressure a lot. I couldn't breathe, especially with the pillars of the fire that he had for his prop. You felt that fire. If it literally felt like you were in hell, that fire killed me, and I couldn't breathe. I knew I couldn't breathe, and I was trying to still stick it out, and I was just like, "Nah, it's Travis Scott. Come on, like I got this,"
Yeah.
you know. And we had already heard from before because one of my cousin's friends was personal friends of the people that were close to Dawn Tolliver and all them. And he had already informed us, "Oh, Drake is here, so come on, we got to stick it out." And I was like, "Oh my God, Drake, like that's crazy." So I was trying to stick it out to the very end, but luckily I made it out right on time.
Right.
Um, After the third song in, I think it was the highest in the room, I believe. I'm not too sure. I can't even remember. I just remember highest in the room was the time I stopped recording and I had to get out of there. But highest in the room was definitely the song that just made it super chaotic to me, at least around that time and where I was at that point.
Hmm.
Which, if anybody has seen the live stream or if anybody was there personally, the stage is like this and he's looking directly this way. So I was on this side on the left if you're looking straight. towards the front in the middle. So it was pretty chaotic. Towards the highest in the room, I had lost my family. I started panicking a little bit.
So when you say you lost your family, explain that a little bit.
So I was holding to dear life of one of my family members, and I was like, I'm not gonna let go, because if I let go, I'm gonna get lost. And around that time too, people were already still trying to get to the back to leave. And I never in my life had never seen aggressive males being like, no, do not let them out. Like, we're already here, stick it out. And I'm just like, these people need to get through. And one of my videos, you could hear a guy saying, clear the way, trying to get people out.
Right.
And I was one of those people to be like, let them through, because these people were really, really greedy. And that's why I take full accountability of fans being a part of the reason why some of these people just didn't make it out.
Now,
And
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Please
no,
continue.
you're fine. What were you gonna say?
No, when you say, okay, so when did the squeeze? I hate to say it like that, but when did the squeeze actually start happening? Right when he came out on stage? Or
Yes,
was
that
this like
squeeze.
at a specific? Was it at a specific song? When did this squeeze start happening?
That
I've
squeeze
been hearing
was
different stories.
there. Yeah, that squeeze was there from the beginning. I just chose to ignore it at that point of time because I was trying to stick it out, like I said, but it was there from the beginning.
How uncomfortable was it? Because I mean,
It was uncomfortable
you
to
were a part of the squeeze. So I'm
yes,
just trying to understand, like, you were
how
in
bad
there.
it was.
How
Yeah,
bad was it?
so
Because if you were willing to stick it out, as you say,
mhm.
it doesn't sound like it was as bad in the area that you were in, right?
Yes, I think around the area I was in, it wasn't as bad until a specific song hit. I know that Squeeze was there from the first time he had performed, but it wasn't to a point that I was crunched up at that point. I
Mm,
was pretty crunched and I had to record like this, but it wasn't to a point where I had to put my phone up towards, I think it was Butterfly Effect, is where I put my phone up and I just couldn't move.
gotcha. Once your arm was up, you couldn't put it back down, right?
Yes.
So you got pushed away. You got separated from your family.
Mhm.
How well, before we get into that, did you
Yeah.
see any people passing out? Did you see any people screaming? What was your perspective?
Yes, I have seen multiple girls actually with their boyfriends or their friends, whoever they were with. I saw panic in their eyes around the time of Highest in the Room was ending. Girls were kind of like panicked and screaming and crying. And I was just like, I understood that feeling from the year before because I had almost started crying. So I'm not going to be a hypocrite and be like, oh my God, why are they crying? Because I almost cried the year before because I fell in a mosh pit. So
Mhm.
it was pretty scary. And I was just thinking in my head, maybe it's their first concert, they're just now dealing with this, just let them through. That's better than nothing. Um, it was pretty scary not being able to breathe at that time because those people coming to the back were the people that were in the front, the very front.
Yeah.
So it was pretty bad.
So did you happen to see any people on the ground? Were there any people
Thankfully,
passed out? Any of those kind of things?
thankfully, I was not able to see any person pass out or collapse on the floor or anything. Thankfully, I think I would have been very, very if anything, traumatized if I would have saw that because I'm very sensitive to that type of nature. But in my cousin's perspective, when we got separated, she saw that, and
Gotcha.
she was pretty spooked out.
In your personal opinion, how was security and how was medical staff?
Security was kind of lazy, kind of slouchy. They didn't really try as much. Coming from my cousin, she kind of just said they got her out of the barricades, and they kind of just like get out, go to the back. Like they just didn't care. Like they so much, but they just didn't have enough for the many people that were there. And that's
Hmm.
just one thing to blame, that they didn't have proper security for the many people that attended the show. and that's one thing they messed up on, I
Yeah,
think.
I was gonna say, I mean, the amount of people that were there and the amount of security and medical staff that was actually there just seemed like they were heavily understaffed, right? So
Yes.
did you see any medical staff performing CPR or anything of that sort when you left?
I had seen that, yes, when I had left. When I had got out of the crowd, thankfully, I didn't even look back. I really didn't. I just felt really off. That energy was really scary. I just continued to the front and I saw lots of girls limping, crying, going to, the sheriff's. There was like a little station of they were going towards there, crying, I seen some people trying to catch air and some people were helping them. They're trying their best from what I saw. At that time I didn't know people getting were dying actually. I didn't know at that point of time. I mean, in my mind I'm like it's a Travis Scott concert. They probably passed out. I definitely saw a lot of people drinking. I was like they probably didn't drink enough water, you
Mhm.
know, stuff in that nature. Definitely when I got out, what really caught my eye was a frantic man. And I went up to him and I was like, "Hey, are you okay?" And he was crying very hard. He was like, "I lost my nephew in the crowd.
Mm.
He's only 10 years old." And I was like, "A child?" Like, I was super shocked that children were even present in this concert when he told me that. And in my mind, I'm thinking, a child, oh my God, but the more I look into it, Travis Scott has had things for children. So I don't want to take accountability that it's the parents' fault, but they should look into going to a concert like that.
Mhm.
But Travis Scott has done some things for kids, the Fortnite event, for example, the
Right.
McDonald's meal. So a lot of kids are influenced by this rapper. So of course I will understand why kids will want to come, but I was super shocked that kids were there.
Yeah.
That's one
No,
thing.
I gotta be honest. I was very very surprised, especially this story that has just recently come out overnight about this
Yes.
young boy, 9 years old, Ezra Blunt, and he's fighting for his life right now in a coma. And I'm going, wow, a 9 year old kid was there, especially
Yeah.
something so um, physical, something that's so chaotic.
Yes.
Having a small child there is terrifying. But real quick, I got to ask you though, when you said that you got out, how did you get out? How did you get out of
Um,
that squeeze?
It was crazy. So when he performed Butterfly Effect, I remember that specifically because I have that video on my phone. Um, it started off, we were fine. The crunch got super compressed. I At that time I couldn't breathe. I was still recording, but I wasn't even recording at that point. I was kind of just I had my phone right here. Um, I couldn't breathe. And he had those pillars still blowing up air of fire, and like that was messing with me, and I was like I cannot breathe with the fire that's that's still continuing on. So by the time I had lost my family, I started to panic a little bit, but I didn't want to panic to the point I started hyperventilating because I when I panic very bad I start hyperventilating. So I had lost them, started to panic because I was to the point where I was crunched up with these random guys, and they saw the fear in my face that I didn't want to be there anymore, and I just couldn't breathe either, and I was just like, man, like I have to get out of here. Like I lost my family. There's no point of me being here right now. Like I don't even know these people. I don't know how bad the crowd is gonna be. I can't even breathe at that point. I was like, I need to get out of here, and I was around these group of guys, and at that point I was like, okay, I need to get out. I started telling them, I need to get out. I cannot breathe. I was literally like telling them, I was like, I cannot breathe. I need to get out. And they were just like, stick it out. We got you. And then there was other guys I could hear
Wow.
like telling me, oh, you were placed in here, like you're cool. And I was just like, you know, in my head, I'm like thinking like, this is not cool. I can't breathe. And you're just kind of like peer pressuring me to stick it out. Like, no, I cannot breathe.
Yeah.
And I told them at that point, and there was this one guy specifically, he was like, I'm serious, I got you. And I was like, I was telling him, like, pleading, I was like, please, like, I cannot breathe. I need to get out. Like, I cannot breathe. And that was around that time I was starting to hyperventilate. And there was girls with their boyfriends or their friends, I don't know. Thankfully, they had told them, let her out. She cannot breathe. She's starting to panic.
I was telling the guys I couldn't breathe. I need to get out. They were just kind of like, you know, go with the flow. Come on, we got you. Other people were like, don't let her out. You know, we've let so many people out. I could just tell like they were kind of annoyed. They were really annoyed that there were, you know, people were trying to get out. And
Because
I
I
was
feel like
begging.
seems like there people are just like, hey, you're so close to greatness. You're so close to
Yes.
greatness. What are you doing? Why are you trying to get away? You know what I mean?
Yes, I think that was
Be next
like
to greatness.
that's how they thought it as. I could
Yeah.
just tell like they're kind of like, come on, like stick it out. Come on, you got this. Like we're right here, you know, because I was pretty close to the front, and I'm not gonna lie. When I was telling them, and the girls thankfully told them, like, let her out. She's starting to panic. She needs to get out. She's gonna pass out. And I told them, I was like, I'm gonna pass out. I cannot breathe. I cannot breathe. They were like, okay, come on, let her out, let her out. That's finally. And then as I was like getting out, it wasn't like I was running for my life. I had to like physically use all my strength to push these dudes to the side, and while at that trying to balance my focus on not falling either, because that's how crunched up the the um the people were, especially against me. We're kind of like a pack of sardines, like you're kind of just slithering your way out.
Right.
And thankfully I was pushing. I even prayed to God, like before that performance started. I prayed to God. I was like, please let this be smooth, please, like, you know, let it be good for me and my family, you know. And I was just thinking, I kid you not, I was thinking of God. I was like, please, like, give me the strength to push these people away so I could get out. And as I was pushing these people away, I guess they had started a mosh pit. So I had ran like in the middle of that mosh pit, still trying to get out. And these guys were just jumping. And I was just like, oh my God, no, no, no. I was like, it's going to get bad, because once a mosh pit starts, they kind of just push you around in it. And I was just like, no, like I cannot be stuck in this. So I was kind of still pushing. Once I got out of the mosh pit, ran through that, pushed other people, and then thankfully after like 2 minutes or 3 minutes, I got out.
Thank God you did. So, and then you, of course, this is when you saw the frantic gentleman that was looking for his nephew, the 9-year-old or the 10-year-old nephew, and of course, seeing other people in dire straits as well. How did you reunite with your family that you got separated from inside that
So
squeeze?
before the performance had even started, we had made like a little pact that even during Don Tolliver, we made a little pact to meet up with the porta potties. But around that time of Travis, we knew like when the show ended, we're gonna have to be close to the front to exit. So we had agreed to meet up at the Cacti Station, which was in the very front, where the Astrodome was.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I was heading after I had got out of there. And I was kind of just looking at my surroundings when I got out. I didn't even look back to continue watching the whole performance. I did not want to look back after begging for my life, and these guys were so aggressive that they just didn't care. I was like, no way. I just don't want to see it anymore. I'm good. Like, I got my little video or whatever, you know, because at that time I'm thinking like, you know, I didn't think this show was going to get bad. Of course, people were going to post about it. You got your video or whatever. And I was just like, okay, whatever. Like, I'm not going to continue watching the show. I'm kind of just done. Like, my energy level went from like this to this very quick.
Mm-hmm.
Saw my surroundings, saw that people were on the ground getting CPR. I was like, you know, they probably passed out. You know, that's kind of what happens at a Travis Scott concert. Um, Continue walking, saw the frantic man, try to help him, told me that his 10-year-old nephew was in the crowd. I was shocked, told him that I couldn't do anything about it because I just got out of that crowd and it was pretty bad. You need to tell the police. And he was like, oh my God, okay, okay. And he was running to the police. I don't know if that his nephew was found or not. Thankfully, it wasn't the kid that's in a coma. That is so sad. That's super sad actually to
Yeah,
think about it, to know children were there and they could have lost their lives, and one's in a coma, sadly. And, condolences to them. That's super sad. Um, Made it past that, went to the cacti station, sat down. The security was being pretty rude. I was kind of sitting on the grass of the cacti station. I don't know if y'all know, if y'all were there, that they had a cacti station where you could take photos, get the drinks. They had like a display of fake grass. Some fans were sitting on that grass. Not even like, because there was like I guess like a thing to not enter like over it, and I wasn't even over it. I was kind of just sitting on a little patch of grass.
mm-hmm.
Security was rude, was telling us to get off the grass, like don't be on the grass, like was being rude to us. And I was just like, what the heck, I was just like, whatever, I'm gonna get off the grass, sat on the ground. um Literally, as I was sitting down, I was kind of just catching my breath, and I was still trying to recover after just experience what I experienced. I was like, oh my God, let me just focus. Let me just concentrate for a little bit. As that's going on, I could hear the performance. I could hear Travis performing his songs. I'm not gonna lie. I was kind of just like, okay, trying to calm down, listen to his music. As that's happening, I'm seeing lots of girls crying, limping, getting out of the crowd. I saw a lot of people leaving actually, and I was really surprised. And I was kind of like, what's going on? Around that time, I was kind of hoping to see one of my family members. Probably they got lost. I was like, do I see them? Do I see them? Still didn't see anybody. And then I heard Drake had started to perform. That's when I saw a whole bunch of people leave. And I was like, it's Drake. Like, why are people
Right.
leaving? I was so confused. And I still hear girls like I literally have the flashback of just hearing girls like crying so much, and I was just like, what happened? Like, I was so confused, and I didn't see no ambulance at that time where I was sitting. I didn't see nothing. Like, I didn't see anybody running to the stage, like any police or anything. I didn't see nobody doing that type of nature. I just saw fans leaving the stadium or the park from his performance, and I was just confused why so many people were leaving. Because when I say like, it wasn't like 1,000 people leaving, it was like a whole group of like people, and I was like, what's going on? Like, why are so many people leaving? It's Drake, like.
Yeah. So let me ask you this then. While you were there, while you were at this concert, I mean, it sounds terrible, right?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously some things were really going down even after you left, but after you left the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
At any moment, at any point, did you see Travis ever acknowledge, aside from that one person that was being acknowledged, that he had, or
So
that person was actually passed out, or actually
yeah,
that person was actually dead? But my question is, did he ever acknowledge about the safety of you guys at all?
personally, from what I saw when I got out of the crowd, I was watching through the other screen of the other stadium where SZA and all them performed. They were kind of showing like the screen of the other side where Travis was performing. So I was kind of watching from a distance. Like I said, I was kind of just like trying to keep my calm, kind of going with his music.
Right.
I did notice he stopped once from what I saw, which was during when he performed 90210. I
Mhm.
did saw that he was like, whoa, 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 whoa. When I was watching that through the screen from a distance, they didn't show like what had happened. I just saw Travis like kind of like, oh, like whoa, like calm down, whoa, what happened?
Right.
You know? And I'm just watching the screen, And he's kind of just like, what the fuck is that, at the ambulance. And I'm just like, at that time I didn't know what he was saying that about. Come to find out, he was talking about the ambulance truck that was going through the crowd to get that fan.
Gotcha.
He's telling people, the security, get this person, and in the background I literally hear him like still continue the music, like just lower it, continue the music, security, come get this man. And I just see from the screen that he's humming, and he's like, yeah, and everybody's seen that video of him,
right, while the
singing
guy's
that.
getting raised up and crowd surfed out of the crowd.
Yeah.
And that was obviously a dead body. That person had perished. Unfortunately, that's a very infamous video that's going around right now. Well, here it is, Liliana. I want to say first off, thank you so much for coming on and
Yeah,
telling
you're welcome.
Your firsthand account of everything. And I'm sure things did not really fully things didn't really sink in until probably later. When did it sink in that you were able to survive something like this?
It synced in the moment I actually met up with my family. One of her friends looked really blue and green. I literally was really concerned. I was like, what had happened? Because I had lost them. So, of course, I wanted to know what had happened. Thankfully, I was reunited with them. Like that's one thing you're thankful for in that particular time. And especially what had happened, you're just thankful that you met up with the persons that you ended up going with. And thankfully, I did reunite with them. I had asked her friend, I was like, are you okay? What had happened? And she told me briefly. She literally told me, she was like, it was super scary. Like, we actually got to the very front. And I was just like, I was super surprised by that. I was like, wow, like, how was that? And she was like, it was super scary, Lily. Like, I was on top of people, and security were trying to get us out
Right.
from the front. And I was just like, oh my God. And then I looked at Renee, which is his name. He was the one that looked really, really bad. I was like, what happened? Are you okay? He was like, no, I couldn't breathe. Like, I was about to pass out and I threw up, and it was really bad. And that's how security got us. He saw me like throwing up, and he got us.
Well, I mean, obviously a lot of not only just yourself, but a lot of the concert goers are there that were there that survived this stampede and this I'm calling it a squeeze.
Yes.
I mean, I'm assuming you guys are all very thankful to be still on this planet above the ground and breathing right now.
Yes.
But Liliana, one last question, real quick, last question before I unfortunately have to let you go.
Of course.
And I do appreciate you blessing us with your time and giving us your perspective. But should Travis Scott be held accountable for this festival?
Personally, yes. People are saying he stopped the show multiple times, but he could have stopped the actual show. He continued on. He egged his fans. He told security, just keep, or whoever's controlling his music, he told him, just keep the music tempo low, but keep going, while people are getting assistance. And he's egging these fans on to continue to be riled up. If he would have just stopped the show, if he could have just been like, take a few steps back, calm down. Hey, y'all guys, we got someone right here. Calm down, hold up. We'll continue in a little bit, hold up. Like, I just think he riled up these fans to the point that they just didn't care.
Wow.
And personally, I just agree with that. With the many videos I've seen, with literally kids from the front to the back to the middle saying, stop the show, help, screaming for their lives, like that's traumatic. Like,
absolutely. Well, Liliana, again, thank you so much for being on. I really do appreciate it. You guys can follow her on her TikTok, which is what is your TikTok again, one more time?
It's Cardi in Love with Me. It's CARTI in, and then with the W, and then IN, of course. Hold up, is there like a chat where I could like post it?
Yes, you can go over to our my YouTube channel.
Yeah, I'll literally comment on there.
Awesome.
You'll see it. You guys will see it.
Well, Liliana, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it, and stay strong out there, okay? And of course, we are all praying for you. We are all thankful that you are safe and sound, and of course, keep me up to date so that we are all up to date on what's going on.
Yes, of course.
Okay? Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Right.
PASCAL, you are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild.